Good morning, everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer.
Jennifer, if I came to you and I said, I want you to make me a star. I want social media content. I want ads. I want email marketing. What's the first question you're going to ask me?
What kind of content are we currently building and in what formats?
And that really is kind of the bottom line, isn't it? That everything else rolls off of your content.
Yeah. Sometimes we might call it messaging, which is like a part of content, like the words that you use. But if you don't have content, no matter what type of marketing that you are doing, you have nothing to push out.
I think that the term messaging, as you said, that really starts when you're in your content planning stage. That even before you start paying money to someone, sitting down or trying to do it yourself, sitting down and thinking about first off, who am I talking to? What do I want them to do? What do I want them to think? What do I want to say to them? And that begins to give you your message. And now you can start putting together a plan to create that content.
In different formats, but unfortunately usually the way marketing conversations go are I need ads, I need email marketing, I need social media marketing, and it kind of starts with the tactic and not with the content, and as you are demonstrating, not the strategy first, then the content and the different formats of the content, then the tactic.
And one of the challenges with working backwards was starting with, well, we're just going to start with email marketing and then we'll grow into other things. One of the challenges is you get this very disjointed content where you start creating things for email and then you're like, ooh, that really wasn't what we wanted to say. And so then what you're putting on social media doesn't feel like the email, doesn't feel like the landing page. And people get confused. They don't know who you are. They don't know really what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to engage with you or really what they're engaging
what you're engaging with.
They don't know how to engage with you or who they're engaging with.
Yeah, and if you're working with us, of course it's going to start with clean data. I mean, if you're making decisions on tactics, you got to have the clean data. So there is a logical step, but I think when you start getting to that tactic stage is you're really content marketing. And I think not a whole lot of people think, do I have a content place?
Mm-hmm.
They just go right to those tactics. And then furthermore, with the development of so many different ways that people like to learn, okay, what is the best format for me to start this content in? But I need that content in multiple formats. Then how is that content going to be used to support other marketing efforts?
Absolutely. And, if you are high audio and you record a podcast first, then get a transcript and write a blog post. Shoot a video and rip the audio from that, rip the transcript from that, or go the other way. If you're really a writer, then write the blog post. Write the blog post first and then record it as a video, record it as an audio. Do what's natural for you. And the advantage is that if you start with the medium that's most natural for you, everything will sound natural.
Yeah, and AI tools have really made it to where it's easier to do some of those things than what it has in years past. So if you're not already practicing some of those things, it's gotten a lot easier to be able to do that. And, as one platform, That's a value too of like not being all in on one type of content or all in on one type of channel. That if you're starting with the content and then making it for different formats, like we saw TikTok come out and then, like it cascaded across all the platforms, but and so now it's, yeah, I do need short form video, but how you get to that short form video. But I see the mistake of where people built like audiences and were like solely like I'm all TikTok and everything TikTok and all short form, and alienated all the rest of other places of audiences because their content was so focused on one aspect of types.
And I think people fall into a trap when they're trying to do, they fell into it when they were trying to do social, they're falling into it with short form video, is they're doing all the short stuff, but they're not telling a cohesive story. And
Agreed.
again, go back to what's the story I really want to tell? What do I want people to know? Oh, I can't do that in 55 seconds. So I'm going to do the intro, then I'm going to do the middle, then I'm going to do the end, or I'm going to do the whole thing and then break it. And it is way faster to shoot one video.
You're really putting yourself in a bind where you're relying maybe on a type of content that may or may not last. People, we've seen things going, but the basis of I need to effectively talk about my product and service and the messaging, that hasn't gone away since the dawn of time of creating products. Like it's marketing 101.
It absolutely is. And so if you have a content plan, if you have messaging, if you have a clear audience that you're talking to,
yeah,
it does not matter
what format?
It doesn't matter what comes along.
Yeah.
You can go back. Honestly, I have 14 years worth of podcasts.
Yeah.
And a lot of my early conversations were audio only. Okay. I'm going back and re-recording that content to create video, to create articles. And I'm putting that old content in
Yeah.
a new format to address what people want to see today.
And the important thing is 1,000 conversations later is you never stopped talking about what you wanted to talk about. Marketing, you continued the conversation, because as soon as you stop talking about your product or service, somebody else picks up the ball and they have something to say about it, and you're not controlling the conversation about your brand.
Absolutely. And there was a period, I think probably 3 years in, where we really didn't record much. I kind of took a hiatus. And it's so unfortunate because that was really when everybody else started.
Yeah.
And I played catch up for a long time after that because the audience had gone somewhere else. Someone else came out with a new, bright, shiny podcast, and nobody remembered that I had been there first.
Yeah, I do want what you're hitting on, like there, maybe not directly, but I will say I don't want to pretend that producing a podcast, blog post, video, multiple shows is easy. There is no easy about the amount of content that I know Lorraine produces, that I produce, and it ain't easy. It's necessary.
The advantage, though, is that if you produce that content, then you have the resources to go back over time. I have 1,100 conversations.
You have authority, you have trusted, people hear you over and over, and so they know who you are and they know what to expect if they are to work with you. And hopefully me too. Like I'm an open book. There's no like this is me.
No, and the other side of it is once you have that library, occasionally you could take a little time off. You can take a break because you can reach into that
Wait,
library and pull it back up.
we get a break in digital marketing. Did I just hear that? Because I feel like that's not.
Yes. If you have a lot of assets, every
Yeah.
now and then you can go back and reuse a newsletter that did well 2 years ago.
Because it's
Or
evergreen.
because it's evergreen, or rerun a blog post, or re-release a podcast. You can't do it all the time. People
Yeah.
will get bored. And you can't do it if you don't have that depth. But once you do,
It's like we're living in this world of I need to constantly create and reinvent every day with new videos. And anybody that has an ounce of creativity will understand that it's not a time clock where you say, I'm clocked in, it's time to be creative. It hits you at different moments, and you just got to be ready for it when it does.
absolutely. Okay, so we're going to pause here because that's really enough content for one day. But you're going to see pieces of this conversation over the next few weeks, maybe the next few months, where we drop in just little bits of wisdom and it'll remind you of what we talked about, or maybe you're seeing it for the first time.
And maybe you want to book some time with us to talk about your individual, points of content that you need to have. I'm happy to both of us to talk with you. And Lorraine's an excellent strategist on that. She built an entire agency and sold on that. We certainly do plenty of content ourselves as well. So.
Oh, yeah. And you have got a content team. And so if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that all sounds great, but I don't know, I don't want to do the work, I know who you can talk to.
I know who you can talk to strategy wise to get started.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye.